So this is circumference and area of a circle. So it wants us to find the area and circumference of a circle with radius 5 yards. Use the value 3.14 for pi and do not round your answer. Be sure to include the correct units in your answer. All right, so first, just as they start doing the explanation here, I want to write down 2 formulas. So we've already done this. There's been a couple other videos. One was literally called area of a circle, and I believe the other was circumference of a circle. So this is just putting the two together and repracticing them. So we have area of a circle is pi r squared, r being radius. And then we also have circumference. I'll put these in different colors here. So we have circumference equals 2 pi r, or pi times diameter. And so if they give you the radius, then you multiply by 2 and then pi. If they give you the diameter, you just simply multiply by pi. Because every diameter is 2 radii. That's why it can be either or. So with this one, if they give you diameter, because they did do that, for that, what was it? The area of a circle, they did give us diameter quite a few times. So if we take diameter and we divide by 2, we come back to radius. So this is also a good one to keep in mind, just in case they do give you diameter and we're trying to find the area. And they want us to find both area and circumference of this one. So it just depends on, and if they give you the radius like this one, that's great, but sometimes they don't always do that. All right, so I'm going to write right now this kind of aqua color. So let's go area of this circle with a radius of 5. So we'd have pi r is 5 squared. So area equals, and we're going to open our calculator. And we're going to go 3.14 times 5 squared, and we get 78.5. We started with yards. Remember, this 5 has a yard on it, so both of them. It's kind of like going yards times yards. So we get yards squared. Just like if you had x times x, you'd write that as x squared. Same thing here. We're just doing it with a unit, which is, in this case, yard. Undo that. All right. And then they also want circumference. Let's see, we'll do circumference in, let's see, we'll do circumference in pink this time. So C equals 2 pi r. We know r, again, they told us in the problem here that r is 5. So 2 times pi times 5. So C equals 2 times pi. They want us to use 3.14 times 5. You get 31.4, and that's just yards. Remember, circumference is just a length. It's like if we could cut the circle and lay it down as a line, like unwrap the circle and just lay it flat, how long would it be? And in this case, it'd be 31.4 yards. So we go over here and we check. These are, in fact, the 2 answers that they also got. All right, so we're going to go ahead and try this in the problem here. All right, so circumference is the first one they do. So we want to find the circumference and area of a circle with a radius of 2. So they do start with radius. Whoops. I want to erase everything. So C equals 2 times pi times r. So that I'm using this one because they gave me r. So if they'd given my diameter, or d, then I would use pi times d. So I'm going to go 2 times pi times 2, and I get 12.56 meters. Remember, it's just a length, so it's not squared, it's just meters. All right, now we're going to go with oh, what happened? Uh-oh, clicked on the wrong one. All right, we're going to go with this blue again. Area equals pi r. Oops, I wrote r, but we want 2 squared. And I wrote pi, didn't I? You actually want to write 3.14 times 2 squared. I wrote pi on this one also. I'm going to cross it off with a blue. But they want us to use 3.14, so when I typed it in the calculator, that's what I typed. So it's not wrong to put the pi symbol, but just keep in mind they specifically want us to use 3.14. If you actually click the pi symbol, which is actually not available on here, that might be why they're asking you to use 3.14. But if you don't use the pi symbol, then your answer won't be rounded. So, and they don't want you to round your answer at all. So you'd end up having to round your answer if you use the true pi. 6, and this is meters squared. Remember, each one of these 2's has a meter, so it's meter, and times n is m squared. All right, so we are going to go ahead and type this in. So we got 12.56 meters of 0.56. So that's interesting. We got 12.56 for both. Meters squared. Check. All right, so just because we got 12.56 for both does not make it wrong. They are both, in fact, 12.56. One is just meters and one is meters squared. So even though they're 12.56, they do represent different amounts. Because this 12.56 is just the distance it would take you, like if you found a round building. I think I've actually found one like near the beach. It was a little bit like a tower. You could walk around it and it would be 12.5 meters. But this 12.5 meters actually represents all the space in between here. So all of this space. Okay. So, all right. So find the area of the circumference with a circle with a diameter of 5 feet. So they went ahead and they gave us a diameter. So what I'm going to do is go up here. So we're going to use this formula here, diameter divided by 2. And I did excellently erase a little bit of the 2 here. So we take the diameter, and we divide by 2, and then it's going to give us our radius. So we have 5 divided by 2. If you don't know that, let's use your calculator here. So we have 2.5 equals r. So this is our radius for this problem. So let's go ahead and go in here. We'll go back to our blue. I'm not going to lighten it up this time. So we're going to go area equals pi times r. So we just found r is 2.5 squared. Remember, each one of these 2.5s has feet on it. So at the end, we're going to have to put feet squared. So instead of pi, remember in the calculator, you're typing 3.14. So we're going to go 3.14 times 2.5 squared equals 19.625 feet squared. All right, we're going to go with coral color again, or circumference. So you can use r, or we can go back to 5 and use the diameter, because we do have an option to use diameter for circumference. So we can go pi times the diameter, and this will tell us what the circumference is. Weird curvy line there. Okay. So we can go pi, remember it's 3.14, so I keep writing pi here, and a little too used to writing that down, times 5. And this is just feet. Remember, this is the distance around the outside. All right, so we're going to go area is 19.625. And I know I did it on the last one without really saying anything. You do need to select the unit there. If you don't select it, it will mark you wrong. Okay. Make this a little smaller. It's a little too big, and I keep erasing parts that I don't want to erase here. Okay. So the next one, if we click next, this is the last one here. All right, find the circumference and area of the circle with diameter 8. So they gave us a diameter again, so we can go through and do this. So we know diameter divided by 2 will give us radius. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 4 is our radius. All right, so the first one they ask us to do here is circumference. So we'll go ahead and do circumference first here. So circumference equals, and remember we have an option to use diameter in our circumference. So I can do pi times diameter. And instead of pi, I'm going to write 3.14. And diameter is 8, which they gave us in the problem there. We are going to go 3.14 times 8 equals 25.12 yards. So it's just yards. It's not yards squared, because remember this is just a distance. It's the distance around. We're going to go to our area and complete our area formula here. So area equals pi times r squared. And we know r is 4 because we did the division for that already. So area equals, close that. Now we have pi, which is 3.14, times r squared equals 50 times 2.5. And this is going to be yards squared, because again, remember we have yards times yards, because each one of these 4s have a yard with it. So we write yards squared. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer that. So we have 25.12 yards and 50.24 yards squared. Again, if you don't put the yard and yard squared, it'll warn you the first time, but after that, it will mark you wrong. So make sure you're putting that in there. All right, so we finished that one. Yay!